Hi students, this is Mrs. Kang and I am going to record the notes that we took in class or the notes that we will take in class. So this is 9-1 Exponent. This is our math notebook, page 9. And I kind of already started the notes, but it says a number that is formed by repeated multiplication of the same factor is called a power. You can use a base and an exponent to write a power. Now, we all, saw something, a number or expression that looks something like this. 3, and then a small, number on top. So this is a 3 to the 4th power, or 3 raised to the 4th power, or power of 4. Now it has these numbers actually have some parts. For example, this 3, that is called the base. This is the factor that we use when we're, multiplying multiple times, okay? And here we have the small number on top of the 3. This is called the exponent, and the exponent tells you how many times you're going to use the base when you're multiplying or when you're using repeated multiplication. And then this entire thing, this 3 to the 4th power, this is called power. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of 3 to the 4th power? 3 to the 4th power is not 3 times 4. A lot of students think that that's what 3 to the 4th power means. However, it is not addition, or it is not 3 times 4. It's a repeated multiplication. So you're multiplying this base that many times, like this. 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. Well, let's go ahead and solve it. 3 times 3 is 9. And then if you want, you could do 9 times 3, get 27, and then 27 times 3 and get the answer. Or you can multiply in groups. So do another 3 times 3, which is 9. And then multiply 9 times 9, which is 81. So 3 to the 4th power is the same expression, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, but written using an exponential form. Okay, so using a base and a power, a base and an exponent, and then 81 is the value. Okay, so let's take a look right here. So on this problem, it says use an exponent to write each expression. Okay. Use an exponent to write the expression. So over here, you see 3 times 3 times 3 times 3 times 3, and it doesn't ask you to solve it. It says use an exponent to write the expression. So you're going to write it. Another way of saying it is write the expression in an exponential form, which is actually what is going to be written on your homework problems. So then since the base is 3 and you're multiplying it 5 times repeatedly, it is 3 to the 5th power. Okay, so then if you go to the bottom, you have a few problems. Number 2, 4 times 4 times 4, base is 4, and it's being repeated 3 times, so 4 to the 3rd power. Now, 6. It is only being multiplied 1 time, so it is 6 to the 1st power. And if you look at number 5, 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5 times 5, so it is 5 to the 6th power. Now, going back up here, I have an expression that is a repeated multiplication of fractions. So then if you take a look, You see that the fraction 4/5 is being repeatedly multiplied 4 times. So your initial thought is you're going to say 4/5 to the 4th power. Well, I just want to say if you do it that way, it is actually incorrect. So if it is a fraction, you need to put 4/5. The fraction needs to be inside the parentheses and then raise it to 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 times. And then this is the right answer. Okay, so I'm going to write right here. If the base is a fraction, you must have parentheses around the fraction. Well, with that, let's take a look at number 4. 1/8 times 1/8. How do you write it in an exponential form? Well, you have a fraction, so I'm going to put that inside the parentheses. And then it is being repeated twice, so it is to the 2nd power. Okay, all right. So we're going to skip page 10 and now go to page 11, which is the other page for the exponents lesson. And this time, you're going to actually find the value. So it says to find the value of a power, remember that the exponent indicates how many times to use the base as a factor. Okay, so I'm going to show you not just how to find the answer, but also the work expectation when you're working on this homework. Okay, so here's A. 10 to the 4th power. So the very first thing that you want to make sure you do is you write down the original problem. Then the second step I want you to do is I actually want you to expand the 10 to the 4th power into repeated multiplication. So it'll be 10 times 10 times 10 times 10. And now you're going to multiply them. So I'm going to multiply in groups. So I know that 10 times 10 is 100. And another 10 times 10 is 100. And then 100 times 100. So I use a little trick. So there are 4 zeros. So 1 times 1 is 1. And then I just add 4 zeros. So it is 10,000. Okay. And nicely box the answer. This is going to be my work expectation. All right. Let's go ahead and take a look at B. 4/10 to the 3rd power. So first I'm going to expand it. So it'll be 4/10 times 4/10 times 4/10. Well, now I'm going to multiply them. So 4/10 times 4/10. So on the side, I'm going to show the work for my multiplication. Take a look. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 0 is 0 plus 1, so 1. A lot of students put a 0 for the placeholder. I personally like to exit out, but it's up to you. And then 0 times 4 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. Add them up. 6, 1, 0. Count the number of decimal places. I have 2 decimal places. So I'm going to move it over 2 times to the left. Now, but that's not the answer because I still need to bring down and multiply 1600 times 4/10. So then now I'm going to do that work on this side. Notice I am not lining up the decimal points. When you are adding or subtracting decimals, you need to line up the decimal points. You learned that in elementary. You also learned in elementary that if you're multiplying decimals, you don't need to line up the decimal points. They could be lined up, but you don't have to line them up. Okay, So let's multiply. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 1 is 4 plus 2 is 6. 4 times 0 is 0. X out for the placeholder. 0 times 6 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0. 0 times 0 is 0. Add them up. 4, 6, 0, 0. I have 1, 2, 3 decimal places. So I will move 1, 2, 3 times to the left and put a decimal point. So the answer, my final value is 64,000. Tenths, hundredths, thousand. Okay, and box the answer. All right, let's take a look at C. You're gonna like C. All right, I have a fraction, 3/5 to the, 0 power. Okay, so I'm going to give you the answer. It is a very simple answer for C. The answer is 1. Okay, I'm gonna box the answer. All right, so basically what's going on is this. Right here, I'm gonna highlight this very important information. It says any number raised to the power of 0 is 1. Anything raised to 0 power is 1, no matter what the number is, okay? And then, of course, anything raised to the first power is the number itself, all right? Okay, so C is already done. Let's take a look at the last one, D. Now I have a fraction, 2/3 inside the parentheses to the second power. Okay, expanding it, 2/3 times 2/3. When you're multiplying fractions, you simply multiply the numerators and you multiply the denominators and simplify or reduce if necessary. So 2 times 2 is 4, 3 times 3 is 9, and since it cannot be simplified any further, that's the answer. Okay, all right, so with that, let's practice some problems. It says find the value of each power. Okay, so that means solve it. Evaluate, simplify, solve, find the value, they all mean the same thing. All right, so 3 to the 4th power, expanded, 3 times 3 times 3 times 3. I'm gonna put them in groups. 3 times 3 is 9, 3 times 3 is another 9, and 9 times 9 is 81. Simple. Number 7. 1 to the 9th power. Let's expand it. 1 times 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 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And then you start kind of multiplying them in groups, but then what you're gonna find is this. Let me show you. 1 times 1 is 1, isn't it? And 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. And I have this leftover 1. Again, 1 times 1 is 1. 1 times 1 is 1. Then I have that leftover 1. 1 times 1 is 1 times 1. So the answer is 1. I didn't really even have to show that work because the point I want to make is a lot of students think 1 to the 9th power is 9 because they think they associate like 1 times 9 is 9. But really, no matter how many times you're multiplying the base 1, you'll always get just 1. All right, let's look at number 8. So expanding it, 2 to the 5th power times 2 to the 5th power times 2 to the 5th power. Since these numbers are pretty small, I'm just going to multiply all the numerators together. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 is my numerator. 5 times 5 is 25. 25 times 5, I know, is 125. And that's the answer. Now, let's pretend like you didn't know that. Then, of course, you would have to do 25 times 5, which is 5 times 5 is 25. And then 5 times 2 is 10 plus 2, so 12. And that's how you get 125. Okay, last one, 12 to the second power. 12 times 12, 144. A lot of students already know that 12 times 12 is 144. Again, let's say you didn't know that, then on the side you can show that word. Let me do this really quickly. 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 1 is 2, X it out. 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 1 is 1, add them up. 4, 4, 1. All right, so that's what we learned on Monday or Tuesday, 9-1 exponents. I hope this helps. All right, thank you.